Okay, so welcome, Charlene. Thank you so much for coming, really. And could you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do and what brought you over here?
I'm a mom of two. That's my number one job. And then I'm also a special education teacher for the past 17 years. I teach in an urban setting in middle school.
Awesome. So, how did you hear of vision therapy and what made you come to 4D specifically?
I had heard of um, behavioral optometry exams and the need for them for a more comprehensive exam. So basically, I just researched places nearby, and 4D was the closest and best in terms of reviews and things like that.
So, when you got here, what were your first impressions? What were you thinking? Like when you walked in, when you had your initial exam, or rather when your son had his initial exam, because we're not talking about you today, really.
Um, First initial impression was I just had wanted him to have a complete exam because I was just checking into all areas due to helping him in school. I didn't think he would come up with a significant vision issue, though I had heard that some reading troubles were linked to vision. So that's why I wanted the full comprehensive exam because he was passing like the basic screeners at school and at the, wellness checkups. When I first came in, I was pleased with the ease of the appointment, getting a time, very soon, not having to wait months for, an initial appointment. And then just the way the testing started right away. And then you were able to sit with him and see the areas that he was struggling with just by sitting and watching the exam. So I was able to know right away that, wow, there's a more significant issue. Just the setup of the whole 4D Vision Gym and everything about it.
Cool. So, you said that he was passing all of his, screeners at school. They weren't super concerned, but kind of what was the mama gut thing that made you think, no, we need to look into this a little further?
So when he started having reading troubles and reading difficulties, and I would notice like he would recognize a word one day and not the next, and I had spoken to people about it, and they had all said like maybe there is a vision issue, but they asked me questions like, does he trip? Can he ride a bike? And like those, and he could do all that. So then I was like, well, maybe not, but let's just get it checked as like a check off my list. I also he was having a lot of attention troubles at school, trouble focusing, and I just wanted to make sure I checked everything before I went with one diagnosis or anything like that. I wanted to look at him as a whole child, his hearing, his vision, and everything. And then, I realized how significant of a need he had with vision and how it directly impacted his life at school.
Right. I think it's really a lot of parents kind of just trust that the kids are going to grow out of it, or oh, they'll catch up, and you kind of caught on pretty early, which is good for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like huge.
I gave him his first grade year to he struggled, but some days he'd read his sight words and he'd know them, and the next day he wouldn't. And I was like, there's still something missing. And I didn't realize what a big role this played in the classroom and everyday life. And even as a special education teacher, we don't see this that much. So I think it definitely needs to be talked about and referrals to come and get a full examination.
Yeah, for sure. So you came in, he had his exam, you learned there's some stuff going on. What was the process like getting started in therapy and with practicing at home? And like, what has the experience been like for you guys since the exam?
It's been really positive. He really loves to come here, and he is a child who complains a lot, and he has received different therapies in the past, and it was a struggle. It's a struggle to get him to go to some other activities, but he loves to come here. So it's really, really positive. He enjoys it. He wants to practice. He wants to show me what he learns. He wants to do certain homework assignments related to this. And he wants to play any type of vision game when we get home, at night, before bed. His just overall reading stamina has improved, being able to read a lot more fluently. His reading words per minute have gone up greatly, from like 40 in October to like 80 in January. So that's huge. And I think he's just overall so happy to be here. And then, he transfers it to school, and he's really had no significant attention issues, focus issues, and his reading, has improved a lot. We're only a few months in, so.
Yeah, we're only in the beginning.
Yeah, so I'm really hopeful for the rest of the year to improve even more.
Yeah, he's been doing so great here. I love when he comes in, because he does have so much enthusiasm. He's just like, all right, let's go. And some things are hard. That's any 7-year-old
Yes.
would be hard. Doing hard things is hard. But I also spoke with his school team, or I was part of his PPT, as you know. So what have his teachers noticed about his school performance, other than his fluency has gone up, his words per minute and stuff like that? But what about his behavior or attention? Have they made any notes? Or
his teacher said his behavior's improved like 99%. Like I said, we got 1% more to go. We're almost there. We're at the finish line, but we do have to get to that 100%. But no, his attention, he's able to sit on the rug. And I think a lot of that has to do with like his depth perception. He was never aware of his social boundaries. He was uncomfortable sitting on the rug, and now he's able to sit on the rug, attend to task, focus, complete the work. His retell of stories, I think, with all the memory stuff you guys work on, has improved a lot. And so that's really, really good. And I'm very happy that his attention to tasks has improved greatly.
awesome. How would you describe it, or how have you described vision therapy to other parents or other teachers who, may want to consider this for their children or their students?
I've described it as, you have to get that initial evaluation, and you have to see if there's a weakness, especially if you're struggling in reading intervention, or just with anything, riding a bike, and those walking and things that you might think aren't vision related could be. And so I've just described it as such a positive experience for him, and to really try it out, and it's worth every time, money, effort, and everything else, because he's seeing huge changes. And when I was debating about it, a friend had said to me, is it going to better his life? And I was like, yeah. And it has, because in October we were in a really challenging place, and now he's in a really good place.
That's awesome.
And socially too, he's improved socially, has a lot more friends, socially is appropriate, positive peer interactions, and things that he was lacking, which overall makes him happier too.
Right. Oh, that's so wonderful. I love it. Okay. I get goosebumps. I'm like, it's such a wonderful thing to hear. Okay. What do you think is the biggest change? What has been the part of your life that has been impacted the most from this experience?
That he's able to do things independently, like he's able to do his homework independently in school. He's able to not be as dependent on adults to do a lot, because he just couldn't even read video games even, or things like that, where he'd always need, can you read this? Can you spell this? So all of that has really made all of our lives easier. And then the fact that he is behaving in class and focusing in class, and not getting those negative phone calls and worrying constantly. He's going to school, and he's going to do what he needs to do, and he's going to have a good day. And
the happy phone calls are good.
Yes, they are.
Not the scary, oh gosh, what's wrong? What do you do
yes,
now? Oh.
I know, and he was getting a lot of that. So it's changed. Now everything is positive. kids might have an off day, but that's normal. We all do.
Every kid does. Exactly. We all do, right?
Yes.
And it's important as parents to recognize and remember that too. But that's just huge. I'm so excited. What do you think is next for your family? What do you see if we fast forward? So he's 7 now. We fast forward 5 years down the road. You're looking at your 12-year-old boy. What do you see him doing?
Just hopefully continuing to be successful and topics that interest him and exploring what he wants to do, looking at different high schools and, different careers that may be of interest of him and activities that maybe he never liked to play, like baseball or t-ball. He really struggled and things like that. And I really think it was because he just couldn't figure out how to hit the ball and visualize and things like that. So whatever extracurriculars that may interest him, hopefully he's pursuing those, and he remembers this time fondly, but it's just a blip in the radar.
Exactly. We want him to be like good with it,
Yeah.
but not here forever. So
No.
that's exactly.
He'll want to be here forever. Trust me.
That's okay. He can stick around.
Yeah.
We're fine with it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Like, can I go? Can I go? When can I go back?
Yes. Good. Okay. And I guess my last question really then would be, if you had someone who was on the fence and they weren't quite sure if this was the right thing for their child, what would you tell them? You said you had a friend say, would it better his life? Is there anything else that you would say to a friend that would encourage them to start this path?
I think you have to look at it as like the time frame, however long it's going to take to go do the program. And the sooner you get into it, the sooner you're near the end of it. And it just goes by so quickly. And sometimes a few times a week can seem overwhelming, but you just have to try to find pockets of time and make it happen. And the homework at home can be done easily, and, weekends and things like that, morning here and there. So just to look at it as I have 10 months, and if I started in October, I'm going to be done at this time, and it's going to go quickly, and it's going to better his life. And the fact that he really enjoys coming, I think, and I'm sure all the kids enjoy coming, so it's not just specifically him, but that makes it the engagement piece with the therapist engaging so much with him and making it so much fun, and just having a high energy level and being so enthusiastic, because he has such a high energy level. To match it is a lot, but I think it's worth it, and it's worth the money and just finding a way to just make it happen.
Awesome. Okay,